Okay. So do you agree that the grass is greener on the other side?
Well, I already knew the grass is greener on the other side. It really depends on you.
Right? The whole saying, it depends on you.
It depends on me. Is the grass greener? Well, if you want it to be greener, it will be greener.
Welcome to Permission the Podcast. I'm Dr. T, and this is my sister,
Silvana, and we are two regular people talking about spirituality in our daily lives.
Each week, we're inviting you to the internal conversation. So let's get started.
With your permission.
Welcome back
To Permission the Podcast.
Today we're going to be talking about the grass.
The name would have been too long otherwise.
Okay, so basically the focus will be on that saying, the grass is not always greener on the other side.
Or the grass is always greener on the other side.
Yeah.
Potato. So I feel like this is a good episode to start the year, right?
Absolutely. With the changes I've gone through in my life, I remember one of my sisters, my oldest sister, during the summer, this is before everybody knew what was happening, the divorce and all of that, what's going on in my, currently in my life. And my sister, I want to say she probably sensed something.
But yeah, she knew a long time ago.
So she was like, the grass is not always greener on the other side. If you have issues with your spouse or whatever, you take those issues with you and they go with you even if you split or whatnot. And I was like, I think the grass is green on the other side too.
I think that's it, right? Like the grass is always green everywhere you're standing. If you see it that way.
Or if you nurture it to be that way, right? If you water it, if you care for it, the grass isn't going to be green if you just do nothing. Or like if you have a flower or a plant or anything, you got to be a gardener. And that requires, I don't know, just knowing what to do. And also that everything takes time, right? Like you can't expect just to have flowers and stuff. You need to, prepare the ground, put the seeds, let the seeds come out, feed it, whatever, pull the weeds out, do whatever you have to do. And in my life, it is greener on the other side. And it will be green, like you said, wherever I stand, because I'm going to make sure it is. Yeah. Has anybody said that to you? Like, meaning like, hey, don't be chasing, like, kind of like, what does that mean really, right? So what my sister was trying to tell me, don't chase an illusion that fix what you have, basically. Don't chase an illusion of what you're imagining could be.
Which is challenging because imagining your future is pretty powerful, right?
Yeah.
Like stepping into your future self is pretty powerful, this is a perfect setup for our next episode too. But so imagining what you want next is how we're creating what's happening next. So that is really powerful. And I guess what you're talking about is the grass is greener because you're making it green today, right?
Yeah. You're envisioning, and you're putting basically your energy into it, right? Like and I don't want to say I'm focusing on the future. I just know it's going to be fine. And I'm trusting the universe, the light, God, whatever you want to call it. I am trusting that it will be.
Right. And it would be no matter what, though.
Exactly. Because at the end, now I look at everything as a blessing. Even the lessons I need to learn, even everything is a blessing because it's helping me be who I am and who I'm supposed to. Stepping into my light.
So when did she say this?
Summer at the Cape.
Like in reference to what, though?
In reference to just, her asking about, like John, and did we do anything together and things like that. And I'm like, well, we don't. Plus, and we don't, obviously, we've never vacationed at the Cape really together because of his work schedule. And also we don't have a lot, really anything in common. So I started talking about things like that. And she goes like, well, find something to be to, and find something. Also, she went, find basically trust in Jesus and put everything in his hands so that we could be, I don't know, the best couple we can be and whatnot. And I'm like,
I feel like that's
that at that moment I already knew, obviously at the beginning of the year, we both knew we were going to split, right? We were going to have separate, but yeah, be together in many ways because we have the boys and we're friendly to each other. We're kind to one another. And I think, how you always say, okay, or parents don't want their kids to go through what they went through. And when our parents split up, they couldn't see each other. They couldn't talk about each other. Like it was pretty bad, right? So that's not the experience my boys are going to have. We're friendly to each other. We're actually loving to each other, but as a friend. But as friends, it's a different kind of love, right? But we're good. We're like, it's kind of weird because it's not like they feel like, oh, something is really changing. Like they see us talking, they see us doing the same things because we're close, just not emotionally connected or as a couple will be, right?
Do you want to go into how the talk went or not?
With the boys or?
No, with the family.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I know this is airing in January, but back in November, during Thanksgiving, or like my mom would say, Thanksgiving, we had, well, first of all, just so people understand, we told the boys the week of Thanksgiving, meaning the Monday before Thanksgiving, they knew and they took it. Like I've been meditating for months, 3 months, about delivering the message and make them feel like, okay, it comes from a place of love. It has nothing to do with them, meaning it's nobody's fault. It's definitely not their fault. And we wanted to make sure that they understood that love was basically, in a way, why we were doing this, so they can also have an example of what a real marriage should look like instead of, just people getting along, but there's really no other connection. So it went well. We did had a little situation at the beginning because Aiden, our youngest, thought it was a joke, right? When we started talking about it, and he's like, "Oh, you're kidding." So he starts laughing. This is a joke.
Really?
And
I
as
didn't
he's
know that.
laughing, as he's laughing, maybe me being a little nervous or whatnot, I started laughing. So then he thinks, oh, this is really a joke. Mom's laughing. And then John starts laughing. So both of us basically deliver the news laughing.
This is so awesome.
And then from there it went, obviously got serious, and, it wasn't an easy conversation, but in a way, it was very relieving and freeing to me. I wanted them to have their holidays be normal, the way they've always been. And it was. We had great Thanksgiving with the grandparents. And then after dinner, we went to our sister's house, Marisa, for dessert. And everybody's there, right? My mom and dad, and all of you guys, my siblings.
Their spouses.
And their spouses, right. And their kids.
Everyone except our sister in Ireland.
Exactly. And so it was a perfect time to deliver the news to the rest of the family now that the boys knew. And also my mom and dad knew. I told them Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Now looking back on it, was that a good idea?
Yeah, because I think dad needed time to, he needed time to go through the mourning process. Yeah, he took it quite not what I expected. Right? He took it.
I think he
sad.
Freaked out.
He was sad. He's really close to both of us, really. I mean, mom and dad lived with us for many years. And so for him, that was tough. It was, and also he assumed like, okay, they're not going to get along. I don't know what he assumed. In his mind was like, it's over. And I'm like, no, you're going to see him. It's not like you're never going to see him again or anything like that, right? Like, we're still going to be a family, especially because of the boys. I'm not going to live together with him. That's it. That's the only change. And, the house we're keeping, so the boys are going to stay in the house and whatnot. So Dad needed his time for that to sink in, because at one point he was like, okay, I'm moving to Peru. I'm like, okay, what?
Fine.
And so I let him have his moment, right? I knew it was coming from a place of like, he was sad and he was just saying things. And so give him the space. But I asked you and Paola to call him.
Mom said nothing.
Mom said absolutely nothing. It was like, what? And after that, no word came out of her throat. I asked her to talk many times and she just couldn't. She just kept moving her head like she couldn't talk. So she lost her voice for a couple of hours. The next day I did call her and she did answer and she did speak. And I'm like, okay, good. Your voice is back. And I'm like,
oh, was that you called her when I was there?
Yeah, like
to go to Trader
and I'm
Joe's.
trying to make it a joke, but in a way I was like, okay, I don't know, you gotta laugh at some stuff, like.
Well, yeah, you gotta laugh at everything.
And so then we went to Aiden and Brendan and we went to Marisa's house for dessert and everybody was there, all the primos, the cousins. So, after dessert, and we were all sitting, all the adults were in one room and all the primos were in another room, the cousins. And so I'm like, okay, I got news for you guys.
It started with Josh talking about how you went to the club in between
Oh, yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Well, so it's funny because he's like, your eyes look different. You got big hoop earrings. Like I had my hoop earrings, but I wore them so many times that I always wear hoops, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, he's probably seeing the light in me. Like, how the Joe Dispenza, after Joe, people are going to look at you and they're going to say, something different about you. Did you do your hair? Did you? And so he's like, oh, your shirt is very colorful. Did you go out before you came here? And I'm like, I was at my in-laws.
Yeah, I went to the club in between Thanksgivings.
Yeah, no. So he saw something different in me, and I think it's also the relief. Like I felt like when people, my yoga instructors, how did it go talking to the boys? And I'm like, I feel 20 pounds lighter. I feel like light. It's just because I was holding that information since the beginning of the years.
No one knows why he did that.
Whatever. The delivery was perfect. Even Brendan thanked us for waiting, actually. He's like, thank you for waiting, because he had a lot going on, especially with with the issues with the coach and, so he had a lot going on. So hindsight, waiting was correct. Or it was fine. It is what it happened when it happened. And it
how
happened.
It needed to happen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so, yeah. And so we started to talk and I told them, I have news and, and then it became everybody, let's talk about our marriages and how we all should have been divorced.
I thought that was great. Did you feel like that was great?
I'm like, okay, that was great. And so
coming from a family that doesn't talk, we don't talk. You know that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Also, Mom didn't talk at all.
No, don't expect. If she talked, then it would have been like a miracle. I would have seen like lights, She probably would have levitated off the floor.
And, I wonder what happens in my mom's head, Like, I wonder does she talk inside of her head? Does she have comments like...
Yeah, I'm sure she does, Tere.
But then she holds it back.
Yeah. Like, won't you pay to be in her head for like a day?
I would love to be a fly.
Okay, not a day. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
30 minutes. That should be enough.
I'm living with my niece, and my niece goes, for sure, my grandmother knows more about Trump than she does about my life. And I was like...
About what? About Talita's life?
About Talita's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
She knows more about Trump than she knows about anyone else.
She knows a lot of stuff. Anyways, it became a talk about, at this point of our marriage, everybody started talking about their marriage. We can, like everybody had a moment where they were like, okay, we're done. And then what happened? They found Jesus.
Wasn't that so interesting? It was really very profoundly They all had, it almost sounded like they all had the same exact story. That was so
They had,
fascinating.
okay, different aspects of the why or whatnot, but yeah, they all found comfort in religion and Jesus and letting Jesus basically take over
Yeah.
and
Like-
work on them.
Like their stories were the same, fit in the exact same narrative, right?
So, like basically, oh, this happened to me. Oh, me too, me too. So the 3 marriages. So there was
4.
There were 5 of us. You're already divorced. I'm going through it, and there were 3 marriages that were
4.
there. Well, mom and dad. Okay, 4. Yeah.
That had the exact same narrative.
Yeah.
We were together, and then we basically hated each other, and then we found Jesus, and it made it better.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of conflict and tension and blah, 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 which I've never heard you talk about.
Because we don't have conflict or argue. And then it was hard just to think of, okay, when have we argued? And then I think John brought up 2 times we argue. And I'm like, oh my God, I've forgotten about that. And one time was him being angry at something and he ripped the little gate upstairs for the kids' gate. He ripped it just because he was pissed about something. I forgot what it was. It had to do with I think sports. I can't remember, but he ripped it. And I'm like, if you don't build that gate back up by the end of today, we're getting a divorce or something like. Because I said, and also if I didn't say we're getting a divorce. I said, if one of the boys falls down the stairs because you ripped the gate, I'm never going to forgive you. Fix it now. And John, John's an awesome guy.
Yeah, I don't see him
He can't put up a frame for the life of him, right? Like he's not a handy person, okay? Somehow, after I just gave him he was able to put the gate back up. Well, he went out, he bought a new one because he ripped that, he broke it, and he put it up. And I was like, okay, so you are handy under pressure. So that was one time, and I mean, the boys were little. That was one argument, and the other argument was during COVID. Because he was going back to work. I was paranoid about mom and dad living here and dad and both of them getting COVID, they're elderly. And I'm like, no, this isn't going to work. And so I had a lot of stress from that. Then Brendan wanted to do the stay at home student thing. Aiden didn't want to. And then John was like, no, I should go to school. And then I lost it. I'm like, I don't know to school. But yeah, I had a moment. And I was mainly with fear. I was scared for mom and dad. And so, yeah. So those were the 2 arguments we could think of.
Yes, so it's not there. My brothers and my sister and my parents had very different, very similar to each other experiences.
Yeah.
And that was very interesting to hear, that they all kind of had the same thing going on. I don't know what to make of it still.
At the end, do have arguments and stuff and disagree on a lot of stuff. Like, I don't want to say I never disagree on stuff with John. Of course we did, but we never fought or argue about it. Like, okay, like we had conversations. I don't know. And also, I'm not the arguing type, that. It became, like interesting how like they have all of them at one point either thought of it and just didn't go through it because of religion and God. And what surprised me too is Gina, although she was talking about how with God she was able to see our brother Roberto with different eyes, with love, or go back to feeling that feeling for him because of Jesus, she said, really. And I'm like, okay. But then at the end, she also told me, I'm proud of you. Part of me thinks in a way, no sé, I don't know. Remember that one meditation we did about you showed me that meditation where you put pressure on a spot, and I don't know what it's called, but you put pressure somewhere in the area of your stomach area or your
chest.
Or your chest. You put pressure on a spot and you through breath and through meditation, you go deep inside of you and all the way deep, deep, deep. And what did I find? Remember? I saw my mom and I saw grandma. So 3 generations, and we were talking about, and the message was healing, healing for all of them.
That's so funny. I had one like that when I went to the meditation retreat where I saw mom and my grandma, but I also
Okay.
saw you guys too. Like there was one with my 3 sisters, you guys.
So
And yeah,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
and and then with my mom and my
Do you remember what it was about?
betrayal, like
Mm.
that the end of my marriage was an experience of a betrayal that runs deeper, and it's multi-generational betrayal of like the feminine part of us and how we've kind of lost ourselves. With you guys, it was kind of like the 3 of you were saying, we tried our best to be present for you. And I said, I know. Mom was kind of basically saying, yeah, I did the best I could, but this was my example, like my
Right.
grandmother.
So she spoke in meditation.
Well, it was more telepathic. And my grandmother had to be my grandmother because of the times, right? So like it all makes sense, but the experience is still the experience of betrayal. And so the meditation gave me a recognition that this was a very small betrayal in comparison to like the way that my marriage ended was a very small betrayal in comparison to my experience of the betrayal wound, which runs deeper and has a lot more layers, and it includes a lot more people in my family and is mine.
The message I remember from my meditation is like we were in the woods. It was kind of dark, like nighttime almost. And the 3 of us were talking. It was like, I don't know if grandma was sitting on a stump of a tree or something like that. And mom was sitting, I was there. And the 3 of us were conversating about basically generational healing, right? So mom was not able to leave my dad or wasn't able to claim her power or even just think of just speaking her truth. And neither did grandma. Now, I don't know her relationship grandma had with our grandfather because grandpa died when we were little. But it felt like, okay, in a way, I was doing what they couldn't do. So that was the message, sort of what I got from that.
Well, also, I mean, at least from my mother, right? She has a lot of fear about a lot of things. So I don't know if you caught this, but I made a mention of like, oh, you're going to be living in your own space and being in your own energy and having a space that is private to yourself, right? Like being in your own energy. And she was like, what do you mean your own energy? Like,
yeah, well, and even Marisa, right? Marisa was like, okay, are you moving with someone else? Like, why are you leaving your space? And
why now?
And why now? She asked, I'm like, why now? And I'm like, well, you're right. I should have probably done it 5 years ago. It's like we all are ready when we're ready, right? We always had a reason why we were still doing this. Mainly was I used the boys like, yeah, they're so little. He's a great dad. He's a great, because he is. He's an amazing human being. We just drifted away from each other and we want different things. And so why now? And I was just, because I'm ready to reclaim my power and my freedom.
Is now because the grass?
Because the grass is greener. Her focus was also like, this is gonna mess up the boys. And I'm like, you don't know that. Why now? And she got a little aggressive in a way, just expressing how it really messed her up when our parents separated. But it was, in a way, it's different. And I believe every separation is different. Just, and ours might be even a little more different because we get along so well. So it's hard for people to understand, okay, why? Uh, you know?
It's interesting because she's not really thinking about you at all, which is fair because there are other people involved. The other piece is it's so fascinating how people put their own stuff onto it, right? My dad said, you know, essentially he said something like, this is going to be terrible for a long time. And I was like, what are you talking about?
This is your private conversation with him.
No, this was at the table. So I was sitting next to my dad on the left, my mom on the right. In front of me was Didi, Eden, and Brendan was next to dad. And he was saying like, oh yeah, this is gonna be terrible for a really long time, but we're here and we're together and blah blah blah. And I was like, you can't say that. He's like, what? You can't like you don't know. It's terrible. Maybe today it's terrible, and maybe that's what you're seeing, or maybe that's what you're experiencing. But that's today. Like you can't say that it's going to be terrible for X amount of time because
Yeah.
you don't know that.
Yeah.
And mom tried to say the same thing. It is going to be terrible. And I was like, it's terrible now, today, maybe for you.
Yeah.
Like,
They came over for dinner last night,
how
and
was it?
it was the same as always, meaning like we all treat each other the same way we have for years, like there is that togetherness that's not going to go away because we are a family. We're parents of two boys and and that's what we want for them. And so I just think for my mom and dad, it's like a little weird. Like, why do they get along so well? So it's something different, I guess. And in a way, I'm happy it's this way because I don't want the kids to feel pulled from two different directions, and that's not what we want. So the focus is just keeping it the same way it was for the boys. And it's not like we have to make an extra effort to be nice to each other because we are nice to each other. And so that's that.
Yeah. Dad initially was like, I'm never going to your house again. I was like, okay.
Yeah. And he got, and part of it was because he assumed I was, like moving in with someone else. I don't know what he assumed.
It's
Like
funny
now,
how
dude.
they both assume that. My
But
sister and my father.
Marisa too. But I'm like, okay. And by the way, in the future, I do want to eventually, hopefully, be in a relationship, right? Like a relationship where we have things in common that we want to do the same stuff, or maybe both meditate. Like I want a relationship of
Compliment.
complement and like kind of like a divine connection. And so when that happens, I'll be amazing. Until then, I'll be in my apartment. And the reason why I also decided, okay, I'm the one going is because I saw it in a meditation, right? I asked prior to Joe Dispenza if I'm the one leaving. I did a walking meditation because guided through his book, Becoming Supernatural. And I'm like, if I'm the one leaving the space, where am I going to be at? Or am I here? Or am I still in this house? And so I saw the place where I was meant to be. And then I found it right away. In fact, it was the first day I went looking for apartments. I found it. Also weird coincidence.
There
There's
are
no
no
coincidence,
coincidence.
but it was all like, serendipity. Like all very much
Meant
aligned
to
and
be.
like meant to be. So I found a place and I'm like, okay, this is it. I don't want to see anything else because this is the space I saw myself in. And John wanted to keep the house. The two plans were I stay in the house until the boys are both gone to college, and then we talk about maybe selling the house. And John really wanted to know we need to keep the house and I want to keep it for me if that's okay. And I'm like, Okay. I already had seen that was out of the house. So I'm like, okay, this is how this is supposed to be. And there goes the thing why we don't argue, right? Like he wants something and I'm like, I respected that, but I also knew that I'm meant to go and do things in that space. And the things that I'm doing in that space currently is my circle of women. And that's amazing.
Okay. So do you agree that the grass is greener on the other side?
Well, I already knew the grass is greener on the other side. It really depends on you.
Right? The whole saying, it depends on you.
It depends on me. Is the grass greener? Well, if you want it to be greener, it will be greener. And I don't think Marisa understands that, right?
I've recently started doing this metaphor with patients. I love metaphors. Metaphors is a part of my therapeutic approach. So I come up with them once in a while that they're fun to come up with. Especially when I find one that like, oh yeah, that's a good one. I was talking to a patient and I was saying, the motivation behind the thing is the most important thing. So when, for example, you get an expensive sports car, pick one, and you're wanting it to go from, A to B, point A to point B, then it makes sense because the motivation aligns, and that's what the car does. The car will take you from point A to point B. If you want an expensive, fancy sports car to find validation, to feel loved, to be in one of those beer commercials where, there's like a bunch of naked ladies and there you are with the car. That's not the function of the car, right? Like the car will effectively and efficiently take you from point A to point B. That's what it's going to do. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get a divorce and I'm going to, feel freedom and blah. Well, if you don't feel freedom and all those other things now, then you're not going to feel it later. So that's kind of what I took the person through, and he said, I don't think you're saying this, but I feel like what you're saying is I'm going to be depressed even if I do the thing that I want to do. And I was like, yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, you will be in the car,
right,
driving it from A to B. So let's work on what you want to feel now. It was a metaphor, so he wasn't talking about a car.
Right. Okay, cool.
And then and then he was like, never thought about that. And then he went into that kind of alleviates pressure. And I was like, yeah, because that's not the function of the car. The car is not gonna say I love you and make you feel warm. It should have heating inside, but like warm, fuzzy emotional feelings or make you feel secure or validated or confident or any of the things that I don't know why people get expensive sports cars. I mean, they drive nice. Yeah.
They're fun, they're comfortable. You will get a lot of more attention
for the car.
For the car.
Your car will get attention, not you.
Yeah, your car will get attention, but since it belongs to you, they will talk to you about it and whatnot. So there will be more attention. There will be certain things, but at the end, you're still who you are, right?
You're still driving. You're still gonna be in the car,
right? So I am here, and I am also gonna be in the greener grass when
Dude, you said I'm here, and the next things I heard was I'm queer. No, you can't come out with that. That would
queer.
That would
But,
be
did you hear
that
the
would
joke?
give me too.
Now that you
would
said
be too bad.
Okay, so Brendan, I don't know if I can share this. My son goes, which is hilarious, and this is the only reason why I'm sharing. Okay, Brendan, if you ever hear this, he says, two jokes he made about you. You're the only two parents that give the worst news laughing. And the other thing, he's like, Mom, just please don't turn queer and bring a Karen to Christmas one day.
Yeah, no.
And I'm like, don't wish that on me. Yeah,
no,
that's not happening.
Not happening.
Because I don't know.
Because no one will allow it.
Yeah, not happening. Plus, I'm heterosexual as it gets. So
part of what inspired this episode is we're starting a new year, right? It's
Mhm.
2026. We've already talked about what makes or breaks New Year's resolutions,
Yeah.
like starting small, making small changes, making reasonable steps to change. I feel like this episode was inspired by the start of the year and being
Mhm.
able to acknowledge having made some reflections towards the end of 2025, being able to recognize, hey, what do I want this year to be about? And taking steps towards that, right? And being really mindful of where you're going, where you're heading. And sometimes it's about acknowledging how you got to where you are now and then taking the next step, right?
It depends on you.
Yeah, and
It
just being
depends on you.
mindful.
Yeah, be mindful. And also, what are you releasing? What are you nurturing? What are you, how do you want to grow next? Or what do you want to get to? And so those are things that in a place, it's not like the grass is like over there somewhere. It's like it's a frequency, is how you're vibrating, how you're creating what you need to create. So the focus, again, everything is in you. And it depends on you. It depends on what you put into and what you're creating.
I feel like part of it too is it depends on your perception and what
Yeah.
you're feeling to what you're placing focus on, right? If you're placing focus on things that seem like the grass that you're standing on is decaying,
But if
then
if you're like so in tune with your truth, with being authentic, that grass is gonna vibrate so green. It's a frequency, it's a vibration. So you're gonna be, of course, it's gonna be green.
so what are you walking towards? What grass are you walking towards?
My grass right now, my purpose is of like working with women, and my circle is really, I'm so really passionate about. We're about to have our second meet. And so this is December, our second meet. It's going to be about rebirth and renewal and just working with elements like fire, air, burning what we don't want to carry with us, and, and letting the air bring in stepping into what we want to, our grass, stepping into our green grass. And so it's amazing. And I mean, I called you yesterday and I was like, okay, I went to my salsa social and two ladies basically approached me about joining the circle. I mean, like somebody was talking about it and I was talking about it, and they're like, oh, count me in for the next one. I want to go. And I'm like, okay, great. So I have two people, and then my yoga instructor also told me, hey, you didn't invite me for the first one. I want to go to the next one. And I'm like, well, I didn't invite you because I wanted you to ask me
To invite yourself.
to invite yourself, because like it's, I've been talking about it and I'm really excited about it. And if it's not calling you, then like I want people to come to the circle. And so it's growing already, and I'm really happy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, this January, I need to be. I think we had a conversation not too long ago where I'm doing all of the things, and it's so fascinating because I'm a time bender. I still have all the time, so I have all of this time, and sometimes I'm doing all of the things, and then I just have these moments of time where I'll have like an hour or two in my day where there's nothing. So I've already done all the things, right? Like
I
I
think you
worked
called
out.
me
I
one
cooked.
day, like I'm like, what do you have free time?
Yeah,
She's like, I
essentially.
already done all of this stuff, and I feel like you wanted me to give you ideas on what to do. I don't know. I'm like,
But it's not about doing. Like,
so what
so
I said, just go out to nature and
you
go.
were like, pick up a new hobby. And I was like, I don't think I need to do more stuff.
And so do less, observe nature, be quiet. And the messages that come through when you're like, just like I look at the sunset and I go like, and I ask the sun to give me messages. And I'm like, there I am, like, like staring and looking and just enjoying nature. And it feels amazing. Like also just the feeling of like, I am part of this creation. I am everything.
Well, I've done more just quiet time imagining what the grass is going to look like when I take a next step, right? I've been doing more of that. I've been being more. So it's funny because I remember the phone call that I had with you, and I was like, I'm doing all the things.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's funny because sometimes I think if I were busier, I might feel some like better about, not, I don't know. If my time was spent doing all of the things that I do and I didn't have any downtime, it might give me the experience of being productive more. Like,
Yeah.
I did this and that and this and that, and now it's bedtime. But that's not what I am going on. So I did
Yeah.
all the things, and it's, 5 o'clock. So it's an interesting experience, and I'm going to use it for taking time to rest and be and go into a creative space, either mentally or I have been doing paper pen writing. Sometimes that's really grounding. That's different than the typing that I do. And I'm going to be more focused on being, is what
Okay.
I've decided for next year. I'm going into a personal year 7, if anyone knows what that is. It's basically the number 7 is the year of like spirituality and learning and expanding knowledge. So this past year was a year 6 for me, which was relationships, and I was focusing on, collaborating, meeting people, going out, being social, staying local versus traveling. Because my year 5, I did a lot of traveling and I was out of the city a lot. So this past year, I was doing a lot of, meeting people and doing all of that. And this coming year is going to be a lot of quiet, alone time to myself.
Yeah.
You're entering a year 8.
I know. I'm like a year of creation, abundance,
Abundance.
unstoppable,
It's a very physical year.
limitless. Yeah. Well, I'm always limitless, but yeah, it's an amazing year, and I'm closing a year because we still in December. I'm closing a year of changes, right? So, yeah, my green grass is looking good.
Yeah. Sometimes there's an idea that, maybe I have to change something in order for me to have an experience. That's not really how that works either.
And yet at the same time, that you can't expect the changes without you actually changing your personality or becoming your your cool version of yourself. So
Did
it
you say
is
cool?
cool version of yourself. The super cool version of yourself. The super duper cool, man.
That's so funny.
Just, yeah.
Okay.
So yes and no, pending.
Well, no, I mean, I think the grass can be greener instantaneously if you allow yourself to feel something different or take a different perspective. I don't think there's something like an action that one has to do in order to feel, s- a shift. A shift can happen immediately, right?
Yeah, that too. It's all, well, it's just you be like, to me, it's if you're being as authentic as you can be, because that's what we're aiming for, right? Spirits having human experiences. You are peeling all those layers and just being authentically who you really are. That, yeah, that's power. That's not just grass. The whole forest is green. Everything's green. So yeah.
Well, I'm gonna need you to send some green vibes to Mo, my money plant, who's been struggling lately.
Still.
I'm trying to move him around, but I'm gonna need to love him back to health.
Okay.
Okay. So
Play music to him. Music, talking,
the Hertz thing,
for your Hertz machine. Oh, yeah.
I didn't sleep that first night on Wednesday. I
You
went and
didn't.
stayed at your place.
Yeah, I slept like a baby.
I think you telling the family was more alleviating for me than it was for you.
I want to say that you being super antsy about you. Okay, tell them. I feel like, and I did tell you that I feel like, well, although I do feel 20 pounds lighter, you also had your emotional release.
Sickness. I don't know. I feel like that was
You felt a little sick before me delivering the news. So I want to say that you were more. I don't know what happened.
I have no idea. Because I told you.
It's not like I'm taking the stuff lightly. I just like you were being intense about it.
I told you I got a sore throat the morning that you were going to tell the boys. And then it went away. My body felt weak all week. And then I was like on the fence about going, should I go? And then I went.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't sleep the night before.
So I don't know where that stupid saying just came into my head. So I drink and you get drunk, right? You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what, but I mean, okay, I will say that I have been doing some work on myself and I've been focusing on some personal things and connecting with the experiences that I want to experience for myself, opening myself up to experiences, focusing on alignment to freedom, power, abundance. I've been doing a lot of work with that, with meditations and with my downtime and imagining, okay, what do I want for next, right? What do I want next? Talking about, taking steps into my future and all of that. So it was definitely an emotional purging, and maybe it was just like a lot of things all at once.
Or you're just trying to twin with me in a weird way.
That too. But it's interesting, what came up for me during that meeting, which I didn't even think about before then, because Mari was talking about
it wasn't weird because we were talking about how when parents separate, how it affects us. But you, on the other side of the coin, were talking about when parents don't need to be together, stay together, affect you too. And so you went into that space where how it affected you when we all went to college. Everybody was out of the house. You're 5 years younger than our Paola, which is the next sibling, and you were left alone to listen to them. But it's not like you were you were in a space where mom was communicating with you. Are you okay? And talking things through. She didn't speak her feelings, so she can't really have conversations, emotional conversations like that. And neither could dad, right? And so at that point, we're how old? You were in middle school.
In middle school.
You were in middle school and you were like taking in everything that was happening at home, like the arguing, this, that. I get it, So you went to that space because we were talking about it and Marisa felt a certain way about it. And you were on the opposite side where you were like, I was praying every day that they split up.
I was.
And at the same time, I was left alone and you were releasing tears because I'm like, okay. And that was intense. I remember the letters we used to write back and forth while we were in college and you were left at home.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, I think what facilitated that was Gina was next to me and she has her own personal experience of that. So Gina's my brother's wife.
And also her sister is going through that right now where she's left with, I assume, the caring of mom.
Yeah, but also when she's the youngest, so she was also left by herself with her parents, right? So there was some connection that Gina made about how I felt with my parents because my eldest sister was trying to say, no, my parents' separation really messed her up. And I was like, well, them staying together really messed me up. So it's like back and forth. But ultimately, I feel like it was a really good conversation because we were actually talking about things that mattered in a deep
Mm-hmm.
way.
Yeah.
So I was grateful that it got opened up in that way,
Yeah.
that we were
And
able
you
to.
were to release that,
Yeah.
and everybody was able to release in some sort of way issues that, well, I was aware of some stuff, but I wasn't aware of the depth of the depths. I don't know how to say that word.
Depth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how deep it was, and so, yeah,
And then the roles that my parents had with that, and
yeah,
how they modeled certain things, and it was so amazing to just get into it, That was really
and then
beautiful.
at the end we all close out the conversation with hugs. Everybody hugged everybody.
Well, there was a lot of hugs.
There's a lot of hugging, and hugging on its own is healing, so yeah.
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 So I think it's permission to let yourself walk into greener
Green
grass.
grass. Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So this is what we have for you this week.
We will be back next week with your permission.
And that is all we have for you this week.
Make sure you follow Permission the podcast.
And we'll be back next week
With
with your
your
permission.